So I'll just go ahead and get started. So
Sure.
welcome to Second Chances YouTube channel, and our purpose is to share about rescue dogs and also different organizations that supports animal rescues and also pet businesses. So today we have Lucky Dog in San Miguel, Mexico, and I've been following them for the last couple weeks, and there's an amazing story about them. And I have Doug on here. Doug lives in San Miguel and he's on the board of the nonprofit. So he's going to share a little bit about the organization, some of the recent challenges they've had, and what their mission is and what they're doing right now to help find homes for all these dogs that are in their care. So, Doug, can you go introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about your nonprofit, Lucky Dog?
Yeah. Hi, Kim. Thanks for having me. It's nice to meet you. So yeah, my name's Doug Meyer. I'm so Lucky. The full name is Lucky Dogs Clubhouse.
Yes,
We just call it Lucky Dogs for
right.
short, typically, because that's a mouthful. Um, and we are a U.S. 501(c)(3) nonprofit, and we're also the Mexican equivalent, which is called a civil association. So we're nonprofits in both countries, but we only operate in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico,
Hmm.
where I'm the president of the U.S. Lucky Dogs and vice president of the Mexico Lucky Dogs. Our president in Mexico is Marissa Pena. And we operate a rescue shelter here. We've been rescuing dogs for about the last 5 years, and cats, I should say, but
Hmm.
it's
Right.
probably 90% dogs. Cats have just been within the last year or so. So it's predominantly dogs. And last year we adopted out over 300 dogs,
Wow. That's amazing.
local, as well as some we took to the US. And so we work hard. We're an all volunteer board, but we do have paid staff and paid people who work at the shelter. And we work hard at rescuing dogs and finding homes for them and cats.
Well, that's really wonderful. I have a heart for rescues, and I've been supporting rescues for most of my life. And so our studio supports animal rescues here in Austin, Texas. But so
Awesome.
tell us about your nonprofit and some of the recent challenges that you guys have encountered, which I have been following.
So we have a pretty large shelter facility here in San Miguel de Allende. Um, it the whole shelter probably covers about 2 acres. I mean, it's a pretty large property, multiple buildings. We have a place for pregnant moms. We have a place for new puppies. We have a hospital for injured dogs. We have
Wow.
quite a few different areas in this shelter. A lot of outdoor space. You know, we don't put our dogs in kennels. All of our dogs and cats. I'll oftentimes say dogs, but I mean cats as
Right.
well. But
Yeah, of course.
I'm not trying to diminish the cats, but we are about 90% dogs. And our dogs have a lot of outdoor space. We have a lot of grassy areas, a lot of garden area. Um, but five, and the property, uh, our president, Marissa, she controlled a company that owned the property. But it's a little complicated. But to make a really, really long story short, the um, she was the managing administrator director of the property, but was displaced, I should say, by the minority. Uh, she was displaced, we believe fraudulently. And so there is litigation pending over this issue.
Hmm.
And we hope to get the shelter back. But we were evicted from the shelter about 5 weeks ago, just one day without notice. Um, just like in the US, the evictors and the police showed up
Wow.
and moved all of our personal property, or whether it's desks or you can imagine we had a lot of stuff in the shelter. They just moved it out to the street. They did not move out the dogs and the cats, however. So they did see the um, problem with doing that, because we had about 100 and over 140
Oh my
dogs and
goodness.
cats in the shelter at that time.
Yeah. I mean,
And
they would have like let them just run the streets or
well, they did not. And so
yeah,
that's fortunate. And but our personnel, our staff were not allowed into the shelter.
right.
Uh,
Yeah.
we since have been able to access the shelter every day for a couple hours every day to feed
Hmm.
the dogs, to clean, because that wasn't being done.
Right.
And so we are allowed access certain periods throughout the day to do that. Having said that, you can imagine it's far from ideal, and
Yeah.
lots of problems have arisen. Because of that, we've really emphasized adoptions, and we've adopted out over 50 dogs and cats over the last 5 weeks. But that means we still have a lot to go. And
Yeah, that's so you have about 90 more dogs that are
I'd say
kept in the
about
facility?
90 dogs and cats right now in the inside the shelter. Yes.
Wow, that's just incredible. So besides being, being able to go in for a few hours to feed them and clean, and so the dogs are just kind of stuck in there, without any sort of social interaction with people.
Well, it depends, right, on which dogs we're talking about. Because again, this is a very large shelter with
Right.
multiple parts to it, and
Okay.
there's probably 7 or 8 areas with different categories of dogs. So, um, for example, there might be an area that has 10 or 12 dogs, adult dogs that all get along, they're
Yeah.
fine. Um, and they have access to indoor outdoor space throughout the day, but they're not getting so while they are getting the socialization with each
Yeah.
other dogs, they're not getting it with
The
people.
humans, right. And dogs
We have
need
you know,
human interaction.
we have a pretty large volunteer group here,
Oh, that's
and so
great.
we do dog walks a couple of times a week,
Okay.
and we haven't been able to do that now for 5 weeks.
Yeah.
We have puppy classes where volunteers come in and socialize the puppies, and we've not been able to. So they're basically in survival mode. I mean, they are being
Yeah.
fed, they are being cleaned, but it's certainly less than optimal, the
Right.
situation right now.
Well, that sounds pretty dire and very sad. So, what for the listeners who are going to be watching this video, what kind of help do you need from us in the US, or in San Miguel from people who love animals and want to support your nonprofit?
Well, certainly adoption right now. We have a lot of adoptable dogs. We post them on our website, luckydogsclubhouse.org,
Hmm.
luckydogsclubhouse.org. We also post them on our Facebook page. Um, and if somebody is in the San Miguel area, it would be ideal. We also can transport dogs to the US, especially Texas.
Hmm.
We've
Yes.
transported many dogs to the United States, and Texas, of course, is it's just a day's drive, right? We can get to
Right.
Austin in one day,
Yeah.
a long day, but one day.
Right.
And so we certainly could adopt out dogs to the U.S. as well. So adoption is our top priority. Financially, we always have needs. I mean, we're always struggling. It's always week to week
Yeah.
so even though we don't have the shelter, we still have staff who are going in. Our director is a vet who's on staff. We still have food. We still have vaccines. We still have medications. Uh, in fact, we've had to hire security because the people who um, took over the property stationed several people inside the property, and
Hmm.
they were trying to. We still vet our adopters, and we don't just let them anybody adopt.
Right.
We interview them, we check them out, we follow up with them. They have to sign our contract, and they were just basically ready to give these dogs to anybody who came
Yeah.
by. And so we've had to hire security to make sure that they don't. There's at least four entrances to the property, and we have to make sure they're not trying
Yes.
to sneak dogs out one of the entrances. So
Right.
we need, we unfortunately it takes money to operate,
Yeah.
and so certainly financial support is greatly needed.
Hmm. Yeah. So there's 90 dogs remaining, and so are your staff or volunteers, are they outside in front of the rescue every day with tents to bring some of these dogs? Are they able to bring dogs out so people can come and see them or check the dogs
Yeah,
out?
yeah. So yes, we are at the shelter 24/7. We have a couple of large tents set up there. We even have a refrigerator set up. We're basically camping,
Yeah.
and somebody from our staff is there 24/7. And oftentimes, many of us, multiple people are there during the day. Um, in terms of adoption, once we take a dog out of the shelter, we can't take him back.
Oh,
So,
okay.
right. So once they come out, they're out, and which is a little tricky because we can't. Well, what do you think of this dog? Oh, I don't want this dog. Can I see another one? It's a
Hmm.
little tricky to do
Yeah.
that. So we
Right.
have to interview the person and make sure that it's a pretty good fit before we remove the dog from the shelter and they meet their adopter.
Okay.
Um, because it's a problem. We've had a few returns through
Yes.
no
Right.
fault of the dog. Um, and that's a big problem for us because we can't put them back in the shelter. So we have to scramble and find a foster or some other, or even board the dog. We might have to do that.
Yeah. So is it a challenge to in San Miguel to get people to foster dogs?
Fostering is difficult. We have a real hard time finding fosters. The need is so great.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many dogs in need here and so many street dogs and so many rescue dogs that there simply are not enough fosters or adopters for that
Yeah.
matter
Right.
for the number of dogs that there are. Now, we're somewhat fortunate in that we are the Petco authorized uh, rescue in San Miguel.
Oh,
So
okay.
Petco has two stores here. It's pretty popular and pretty big, and it has a middle to upper class customer base.
Mm-hmm.
And we were the only shelter selected by Petco and authorized to do adoption events at Petco, which we do every Saturday and Sunday in
Okay.
San Miguel. And we adopt a lot of dogs out because of those Petco events. But we haven't been able to do it for the last 5 weeks
Right.
because we just don't have the wherewithal and the ability to do it. We can't take dogs out, take them to Petco. If they don't get adopted, we can't put them back.
Right. Yes.
So it's
And then you don't
very
know where
challenging.
else
But
to put them.
we always need fosters um, and we always need adopters. But
Being San Miguel being a huge expat area, and I imagine many of the people who adopt are expats or they're locals.
I would say our adoptions are probably 90% local.
Oh, that's
Uh,
great.
yeah, there's a large, middle Mexican middle class here,
Mm-hmm.
um, middle and upper class, and people who are shopping at Petco,
Yeah.
by definition, sort of fall into that category
Right. Yeah.
because Petco is kind of expensive here,
Yeah.
right?
I can
Um,
imagine.
and so I would say, and I don't have the exact numbers, but I would guess it's 90% Mexican and 10% foreign. So 10%
Right.
American, Canadian, European. Because even though there are a lot of Americans and Canadians and Australians and Europeans living here, still only probably 5 or 10% of the population. I
Right.
mean, it's
Yeah.
still um, a small percentage compared to the overall population.
Right. And
So we
also,
did both. I mean, our Facebook posts are in English and Spanish.
mhm,
We
yeah.
appeal to both English and Spanish speakers. Our president is Mexican. I'm American. Um, our other board members are Mexican in Mexico. Um, but we also have a U.S. board, which is separate.
Okay.
So,
Well,
but we try.
that's
If
great.
it's a good home, we're happy. That's all that
Yeah.
matters.
Yeah, I mean, finding the right person to adopt a dog and making sure they're vetted is very, very important. Like all my six dogs that were adopted, I mean, the last one I adopted, Leilani, they the rescue came to my house for like 4 hours to make sure that my little dog that I was adopting, Leilani, was going to get along with our husky and our doodle and all the other chihuahuas. So it's so important.
Yeah, it is right because I would wager to guess that the vast majority of our adopters already have one or more other dogs,
Mhm.
right? So when they adopt another dog, it needs to get along with their current dog.
Right.
I mean, I don't know the numbers, but the vast majority already have one or more dogs,
Yeah.
and they're looking for a second dog or a third dog, and so that's very important. You're right; they need to get along.
Yep. So, because I live in Texas, of course, we have a huge rescue issue here too. But what can we do to get the word out and in regards to if I share the video and locally here, I live in a very affluent area here in Austin and lots of animal lovers. So we share around people how how can someone who lives in this area adopt a dog that is currently, living in the shelter, and we want to get them out soon as possible? And how can they be transported to Austin or San Antonio or Dallas, Fort Worth, those areas?
Yeah. So if it's to Texas, well, first of all, to adopt. Um, First of all, they can contact me. Probably the easiest way, if they go to their Facebook page,
Right.
if you can post a link to
Yeah.
that and then send us a message on Messenger, and then I can reach out directly to them
Yeah.
once I get that. But to Texas, I mean, if we had 3 or 4 dogs that were going to Texas, I would probably personally drive them myself. I would put them
Hmm.
in my Suburban and drive them up to Austin,
Yeah.
or we would get someone to do it. There are
Right.
people
Transporters.
that do
Yes.
that we would transport them, but getting to Texas is pretty easy.
Yes.
Other parts of the country, not so easy
Yes.
and much
Right.
more challenging. But
Hmm.
Texas, we're there in one day, right? One long day, and we're there. So we could easily, go to our website, look at the dogs. If there's one that interests you, we can give more information. Our Facebook page is probably even more current because we
Yeah.
update that every
Okay.
couple days with dogs that are available and with photos. And um, the website has a little more information about them, but we can always give age and gender, and all of our dogs are sterilized, so they're
Right.
either
Yeah.
neutered
Neutered.
or
Right.
spayed,
Neuters
uh,
is
and
important.
they're all vaccinated. They're
Right.
all, um, and we can. I mean, we know our dogs pretty well, so we could say, well, this dog gets along with females, or
Right.
this one gets along with everybody, or this one doesn't like to walk, so he's kind of lazy, or this one needs a big backyard.
Right.
We know our dogs' personalities. If you have 5 dogs, they're all different,
Oh
and
yeah.
they all have,
Right.
yeah, they all have their own personalities. So
They all do. So that's really great. Do you have volunteers who photograph dogs for you? Because when I come visit in March, I will donate like an hour or two to photograph some of your dogs to help them get adopted. I do that whenever I travel to Hawaii. I
yeah,
volunteer at the Humane Society. That's kind of why I ended up with the one dog. But yeah, do you have people who volunteer who are actually photographers that can help you take some great photos of dogs. 'Cause a really great photo really does get a dog adopted. And
Oh, I couldn't agree more. Photos are probably the one most critical element, right? Because a good photo goes a long ways.
right,
We do
yeah,
have some volunteers. We do have a couple um, who who do a very good job, but like many people here, people come and go. They're
yeah,
here for 6 months, then they go
right,
back for a while, then they come back, and so we can always use more photographers. Now, hopefully by March, our situation right now, you wouldn't be able to take the dog's photos because
yeah,
you couldn't
that's
get in
true.
to see
Yeah,
them. But by March, the situation will be resolved one way or another. So um, we can stay in touch and definitely that would be awesome. We'd love to have you take some photos for us.
of course. So, I want to go ahead and wrap up and give you the opportunity to um, kind of ask what whoever is watching our audience what the next steps that they can do to help your rescue out in regards to donations or adopting a dog or if they live in San Miguel volunteering because I'm going to post it on the San Miguel pages too. So
Okay.
we're talking to people who live in San Miguel also, not just in Texas here. So Doug, just kind of take this opportunity the next minute or so and kind of say what you would like in regards to getting some help.
Well, we do have a pretty large volunteer program right now. Um, we have a large number of volunteers who do dog walking, puppy classes, the Petco adoption events. The problem is we're not doing any of those things right
Right.
now
Yeah.
because we've been evicted from the shelter.
Right.
And so until we're back in up and running, so to speak, um, our volunteer program is sort of on sabbatical, other than
Yeah.
the volunteers come by, they support moral support, they come to the shelter, but they're not allowed in
Right.
to clean. The only
Yeah.
people allowed in are two or three of our staff members who are permitted. So, but um, but if you are in San Miguel and you do want to volunteer, definitely reach out to us through Facebook, and we have a WhatsApp volunteer group, and
Hmm.
I can add you to that. Um, and then those, of course, local who want to adopt, that's easy. Contact us. We'll talk to you, have you come by the shelter. We're in the Los Frailes area for people who know San Miguel, just on the outer edge of town. And those who can donate. I mean, we're always struggling for funds, and it and I can tell you the money will go directly to the dogs, to the shelters. We volunteer our time. We don't get paid. We don't have a large administrative overhead. And if you go to our website, luckydogsclubhouse.org, there is a donate button there that somebody can donate, via the website.
Well, wonderful, Doug. As a board member of a nonprofit here, also, I I understand, giving back is so important, and I really want to say thank you for being on the board and supporting these dogs in San Miguel and what you guys are doing to help them get adopted and care for. So I'm gonna hope that this whole situation gets resolved to the organization to the rescues so that you guys can get all these dogs adopted and be back in operation again because it's such a sad situation right now. And I hope that my followers on my channel, Second Chances Dogs, will be watching this both in the US and all over the world and in San Miguel. And they will, do whatever they can if they are animal lovers to support your organization. And also, if they're looking for a dog to adopt, either if they're in Texas or in other states or in San Miguel, that they will reach out to you and your organization. So, thank you so much for taking this time to have this quick interview for my YouTube channel, just spotlighting and bringing light to your organization and what you guys are doing to help all these dogs that are in San Miguel get better homes and have a better life.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome. So I'll hope to meet you in March when we come
You
visit.
will. I'll be here.
Okay. Thank you
All
so
right.
much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Doug.